Alright. Don't know if I'm gonna set the camera up where you guys watch me do work because I'm gonna be underneath of the tow truck, but working on the getting the brake locks on the hydraulic brake locks, hydraulic parking brakes, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, these little valve things I bought here, I'll show you. Got them in the truck here. I already got a mount made for them, but they're these little guys. I got two, so I can do one because it only does one axle, so I can either lock the front brakes or the rear brakes, whichever I want. I built this little mount for them to bolt onto. I'll turn the camera around so you can see there was some holes in the dash here already, so I just made them bigger, and then that way that'll bolt up there, and then I can reach over and push these down. And these ones work by you push the brake pedal down there with your foot firmly, and then you push and hold that. You can either do one or both, the way I'm setting this up. Push the brakes hard, push this down, then let off the brake pedal. These stay pushed down, locking the brake fluid on the front or rear axle, or both if I use both of them. And then to release them, you just push the brake pedal hard again and they'll pop up. And of course, if for some reason they stick, you can pull on them, but they're not supposed to. So we got the lines. We got lines coming in and on this side, and then they go out on the side that sticks through the dashboard. So that's what we're gonna do for a winch brake, so somebody doesn't have to sit here and hold the brakes. Now, I was cleaning this truck out, getting ready to be able to lay in here because it was full of dirt and everything else, and there's this bump in the floor which I didn't notice before because I hadn't really looked at this truck, but I was vacuuming underneath here, and there is a hydraulic park lock or winching brake on this truck already. We'll go underneath. I don't think you'll be able to see very good with the dark in here, but I get turned over here. Right here. That thing. There it is. You can actually see it really good. So this truck used to have one, but the yeah, it's unhooked because the knob is seized, and I can see where somebody has beat on the end of this trying to get it to unseize. I'm guessing that part used to move, I don't know. So there's a bunch of new brake lines on this truck. So you can see, if it'll focus, you see the color. They're, newer. The rubber hoses, everything are good. And the brakes kind of suck on this thing. I don't know what they just didn't bleed them very good, or if there's something else going on, but I'm at least gonna get started with this, so that way I can have the park lock for winching, or like hooking up vehicles. I don't have to worry about it moving. Another thing I'm going to fix is this parking brake, the mechanical one. It's as you can see, very loose. I just have it tucked up here on this right now. It's missing the cable off of this side. It got ripped off. That's what's all wrapped up right here. So I gotta get one of those out of one of the trucks in the yard, maybe, or just buy a new one and put it in there. It might need wheel cylinders too, I don't know. I haven't pulled those apart yet, so we haven't been under this truck before, but people might notice there's welds and cuts and welds, and this is boxed. I don't know if you can see right here. Yeah, right there's a plate, and it goes all the way back about right here. But this frame is this truck's done some work. It's not in the best of condition visually. It appears to be solid, but there's some really old school repairs here. So, and then you see where it's like they took like a longer framed truck and they shortened it for this, because this wheelbase is actually longer than a standard cab long bed. by a little bit. So this truck was built out of a conglomerate of parts. It's very old school, and it'll do the job. I'm not worried about it. I'm not towing people commercially, so towing shit around on the farm and moving my stuff around, it'll do great. So you got the big hydraulic PTO driven pump here with the mechanical linkage to engage it, with the big suction hose and power hose. There's plenty of room up under here. I want to add, let's see if we can move here. There's the valve that controls the winch, so there's lots of room there. I can add a couple more valves there. So I was thinking of doing, I'm actually looking at maybe buying another truck that's really rusted out and run down just to scavenge parts off of it, and maybe even add a wheel lift, because it has a wheel lift on it, but we'll see. I'm in the middle of stuff with the property. See if I can get back out from under here without making everybody seasick. Oh, I'm failing. The door's open. I got myself stuck here. No, I've just been working on the tow truck. I'm gonna take a wire wheel in here. I already banged and scraped on all this, vacuumed it out. So I'm gonna buzz that out, and then I'm just gonna hit it with some random paint just to make it nicer to put some stuff in there. Fixed my broken turn signal, put the orange bulbs in there, got those all greased and cleaned up, so they're working good now. And then just vacuumed all the pine needles and stuff off the bed. I need to see, I don't know how much it costs, but curious about getting that recharged. If not, I'll just put another one in here. And I got myself a little snatch block here, so if I need to, I can double up my line. And then I got those handy retractable ratchet straps for doing the tying down steering wheels. So if I end up deciding to tow something backwards and don't want to use the dollies, which currently are stuck on here, and they need, that one spins okay, that one's pretty, I don't know, they need gone through. They bare minimum, the bearings need cleaned and re-greased, but I cannot get them off. They are rusted in these pipes, so I'm hoping I can just heat those up and bang on them and they'll break loose. If not, I'll just take the torch and cut these off. I want to take them off anyways, because these are two, which the dolly sticks clear to the end of this, but this hits right here. If I raise the boom, which I can't technically raise and lower the boom, it's got a fixed cable on it, but I can run the winch line all the way up into the sheave head and lift it up. I wouldn't, not with weight on it, I won't do it with weight on it, but like to flip my sling out so I don't have to pull on it as hard, because it's got some good weight to it. It's all thick stuff. I run this all the way up until those hit, and then I can flip it outward, and then I'll use the truck. But yeah, they're hitting here and I don't like that, so this will go away eventually. The other truck that I'm looking at, if I get it, it's got a newer set, or their old cruddy set of dollies too, but they're the newer style with the little cammed ratcheting mechanism that you set the bars in, not like this style where you stick the the dolly in the bar, and then they're a set width, and they're supposed to be like some pans that sit on here which are missing. But like I said, I'm not commercially towing, so this stuff will work for all my shenanigans. But it's got a similar boom and stuff on it, this other truck. So the idea too is to take, which you can see up here, right there's my pin, and it's all welded right there. That tube in the middle is supposed to come all the way down the center here, and that's supposed to allow me to pull the boom out so I can have more reach, other than just directly off the back of the truck, which I'd like to have, because I want to be able to pick up car bodies and stuff to load on the trailer for scrap. But yeah, I need to get new. I'm gonna put all new safety chains on because these are pretty. They're really crusty down in there. They've been down in there for a long time, and the little tabs are missing. The tab's missing off this, which I don't like. So you know, just if this slacks off, it can just fall out. You know, these are supposed to be the safety chains. You go and wrap them around an axle and hook back to themselves. Well, they can just fall off. So, you know, all this little stuff just to make it safer. I'm going to change it out. Of course, I got my temporary magnetic light wiring there, but so anyways, that's what we're working on right now. Trying to get this thing ready because like I said, I got stuff going on with the property like I made in the video. I did a video. I'm trying to put this somewhere where it's not obnoxious, about the property, how it's not going to last, the Mopar Farm 1.0, as I'm going to call it, because it's very temporary at this point. I've been there for I don't know, 7-8 years now. Been there for quite a while, but I've hesitated for several years to work on the house because there's just been ongoing talk about a development in the backyard happening in the field. There's like I think it's like 6 or 7 acres of hay field. Not very big hay field, but we got Walmart on one side and some car lots on the other, and then houses, and then I'm on the other side with my neighbor, a couple neighbors. But yeah, so we got developers coming in and they're wanting to build a bunch of stuff, so the property is subject to being included in that. And once things, you know, when I shouldn't say if, it's gonna happen eventually. So once that all happens and it's done and whatever, and I'll give an update on the property situation once we have something figured out. But it's likely that within the next, from what I keep hearing, it could be the next 6 months to probably within the next 6 months, maybe even less. I'll probably be looking at moving. So that's why we got to get this tow truck straightened out, because it is functioning for the most part like it's supposed to as far as picking up vehicles and towing them, but I have no gauges, which is not comforting, not knowing what's going on, especially because I don't know how much fuel's in this thing. And then again, the brakes were working fine, but not as good as they should be. You know, I have that motorhome. It's a 1-ton van chassis. It's basically got the same brakes on it. Actually, this has bigger brakes on the front of it, and my motorhome stops with a little less effort than this thing does, and this does not have as much weight empty as my motorhome. And since it tows vehicles that don't have any brake support behind it, they need to work really good. So I'm not happy with them. They're gonna get fixed. They were stopping the truck fine and doing what it needed to do, but as far as towing stuff down the road, which I'm gonna be doing when I move, at least some of it's gonna go on the trailer, some of it will be this, just so that way my girlfriend can haul a load and I can haul a rig, and we can basically make 2 trips in one kind of deal to get things moved quicker. Because of course, when that day happens, I'm gonna have a time frame. So that's what we're working on today. I gotta go get some brake lines to run in through the cab, turn this camera around. I just drilled a bunch of holes in the firewall. I'm gonna put some rubber grommets in here, but these are gonna be my lines that go to the part of the valves that stick into the dash, and these are the ones that are the ones that are going to kind of have to come up and under the dash out into the front side of those. I'm going to see if I can get some 90-degree fittings down at the auto parts store for this side of these valves, where they'll be sticking out of the dash here. So I'm going to try to get some 90s so those line will be able to come straight up in here instead of having to bend way out and stick out here, so it's less stuff to hit your legs on. I spent like 3 hours trying to decide how I was going to mount these things and where. I was going to try to mount them over here, which you can see we've got this for the heater right now. I'm going to fix that and get it back to the original heater control up here, but you know, I could have put them over here, but then it's right above the brake pedal, and I figured over here's just better. It's kind of off to the side of the clutch a little bit, and there's just nothing going on over here. I actually might use this hole and have the line come out over here, and then I might actually run this line around through the opening here, because the cover is missing that goes here, and I'm not worried about putting that back on because this truck's, I mean, I'm gonna make it nicer at some point, as far as it'll get a new paint job and stuff someday, but not right now. And it's a utility vehicle, so stuff's not gonna look super pretty. It just needs to be functional. So I'm gonna get back to work making some measurements here and figure out my brake hoses that I need, and then go get those, and we'll do a little update here in a little bit. Like I said, I'm kind of working down underneath here, running lines on the frame and stuff, and there's not much you guys are gonna be able to see. So I'm not gonna spend the time to set the camera up and make video of that. We'll just do update videos as I get things done here. So hopefully I can do some more videos of doing or building things later, but right now working on this underneath the truck. So anyways, we'll have to get an update here in a little bit. All right, it's the next day. I got busy with some property stuff and didn't get back to work on this, but been working on the tow truck, getting these brake locks done, and I got them all plumbed. So here we go. I'll show you the results. We've got the mount I made out of a little piece of scrap metal, and you know, made a nice little mount. It's got a couple bolts welded in it. It's bolted through on the back side of the dash. We got the two lines coming out of the other side of these blocks that are going out to the brakes, and these are coming in. And so these work, you know, they just push down a little bit. Once I get the brakes bled, I'll show you how they work with the, you know, when you push them down and then it sets the brake, and then you push the brake and it lets them off. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of work to bleed these, because you know, we got lines, as you can see here. I'll show you we got them coming off the master cylinder like factory down to the proportioning valve, and then it comes back up to up the firewall here, and they go in through the let's see, this one's the rear brakes, this one's the front brakes down here. And then these are going out. This one's going out to the rear, this one's going out to the front. So it's got to go down, up, and then down to the brakes. So it'll probably be fun to get them bled out. I'm sure there's lots of professionals out here would say, you know, it's not plumbed the right way, but the little lever lock style ones, they're usually mounted on the dash, so they end up getting brake lines running up and down the firewall like that anyways. So with enough bleeding, it'll be fine. So I'm gonna get to work on that, and then once I get the brakes bled out, I will show you guys how that functions, as far as, you know, show that they stay on, and then you push the brake and they pop off, that kind of thing. I mean, they don't move very far, so you're not gonna really, it's not gonna be super obvious, but we can still video it. Then hopefully that'll be a quick process, and I'll have the ability to lock the front brakes on or the rear brakes on, or front and rear at the same time, depending on what I want to do. Obviously, if I'm doing a hard winch out with the boom, and I don't want the truck to move at all, I can lock all four on. If I'm just trying to hook up one vehicle, I can just, you know, stick the fronts on or the rears on, whichever. So doesn't really matter. It'll do the same job, which is keep the truck from rolling and as if somebody's standing on the brake pedal. So anyways, I'm gonna get to bleeding. All right, got the brakes bled. I was working on this utility box, just wire wheeled it. I'm gonna paint it with some random paint. It's gonna be a purple color. I'll show you that when I'm done with it in a minute, but just wanted to show you guys I got the how these brake locks work. All right, so you got these two guys here. This one does the front brakes, this one does the rear brakes, and they work by, you just push the brake pedal down and you push those down and hold them, let off the brake pedal, they stay down, but you can't really tell. But watch, when I push the brakes, they'll pop up. Couldn't really see it. They don't move very far, but they are working extremely well, so super happy with that. And this actually turned out not looking too bad. I wasn't sure about it sticking out this way. I wanted to mount these the other way, so the lines came out and went into the sides of them and they weren't like sticking out this far, but this looks really it looks pretty cool. It's pretty tight to the dash. I think it feels real like industrial and commercial, which is, I mean, it's a tow truck, you know. It's supposed to be fun and useful. So anyways, I'm painting it this color, if you can tell whatever color it is, because it's just some random can of paint that needs used up. So, and you know, this is very pitted, so it'll just be nicer for stuff when I put stuff in there, it doesn't get all rusty. So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. Excuse me. Here's the now lavender colored toolbox. Yeah, don't worry, it's not going to stay that way. Someday it'll it's already like dry. Someday this truck will get a paint job, but for now at least I can, I mean, I know it's going to get scratched, but now I can throw stuff in there. Like I've got my my little ratchets and the snatch block and stuff I can put in there, and probably put a little piece of carpet in there or something, which I know will trap moisture and cause rust again and whatever. At least stuff won't be sliding around banging everything up. So, but a little bit more done on the tow truck. This will be the video for this week. Just a little bit of work on the brake system. Well, we got that done. It has the park locks on there now for winching or whatever. So that'll be handy. I'm going to continue on a few other things on it. I got to do the, let me think here. My brain, I'm tired. It's the end of the day. The gauges in this thing. Gauge cluster. I need to pull this out. Yes, that is, you know, cracked or whatever. Not really an issue. The issue is none of the gauges work. This works. And the tachometer works, and all my switches down there work, but I don't have fuel gauge, and the alternator gauge doesn't matter because I have a volts gauge, but I have no oil, no temp. So I might just put some aftermarket gauges in here for like my oil and my temp, but it'd be nice to get the fuel gauge working. And the speedometer needles broke off, but if I can at least, I'm guessing it's not, the cable's probably not hooked up because it does not work. But if I can at least get it to, kind of point where speed I'm going, that would be handy. So, but yeah, so got these installed, did all the brake lines like I showed earlier. So that was the big project for the last couple days. And like I said, you push the brake pedal really hard and you push these down. I'll just do one here so you see how much they move. They don't move very much. So you push it down and then you let off the brake pedal, and then you let off on that. And you can see the height difference there. We'll so push the brake pedal here, and you'll see that one pop up. See, came back up. That's how those work. So that's pretty handy. So I can lock my front brakes or my rear brakes, however I want to do that. Front or rear. And what did I say? Did I say front brakes, rear brake? I don't. This is the rear brakes. I might have hooked my lines up backwards. I'm gonna have to look at that again. Anyways, it's too much stuff going on. So, anyways, they're working. Hopefully I didn't hook them backwards because I gotta bleed the brakes again. But they're working, so I guess it doesn't really matter. They were hooked up backwards to begin with. Whoever put the brake lines back on it when they rerouted the brake lines from the original brake lock, they hooked the lines up backwards on the proportioning valve. So, and they were working, just not very good. So that's why I wanted to get them hooked up the right way. So I'd like double check that like 3 or 4 times, but you know, the sun cooking my brain and getting phone calls nonstop about property stuff and whatever, it's, you know. So anyways, that'll do it for this week. We'll have video next week of, I mean, maybe we'll get some video doing the dash. I don't know, make video of something. So talk to you guys.